So the NBA season's been up and going underway. I want to talk about some of the teams that have been very underwhelming this year. Teams who you expect a lot more from. Teams who you expect to be a championship contender this year. But they just aren't. But hey, it's still early in the season. So that could change. But with that being said, let's get right into the list. Starting off with the first team. The first team being the Golden State Warriors. I have the Warriors as the first team because I really think they could turn their season around. But right now they have been a bit disappointing. Right now the defending champs hold a record of 8-9. I just really don't think the defending champs have that record. I feel like they should be a top team in the West. But this year their defense hasn't been great. And their offense is being carried by Steph Curry, who's right now is putting up an MVP year. Really, besides Steph Curry, the Warriors have just been depressing. Some of their key players aren't doing too well. And like I just said, the defense is horrible. And the offense is literally just Steph Curry. But the Warriors could definitely turn it around this year. So that's why I decided to talk about them first. But now let's move on to the next team. The next team being the Brooklyn Nets. Just like the Warriors, right now the Nets hold a record of 8-9. Now with this team, we have an off-court problem going on. That off-court problem being Kyrie Irving. But let's not speak of that, because that's not a basketball situation. So let's talk about on the court. On the court, even when Kyrie was playing, the Nets still wasn't winning games. Even when Kyrie played this season, the Nets had a record of 3-6. The Nets just haven't been playing winning basketball. The only competent player the Nets have is Kevin Durant. And Kevin Durant really isn't the guy who can do it all by himself. So the Nets need players like Ben Simmons to step it up, in which he has been doing. The past 2 games for Ben Simmons were pretty good. If he could keep playing like that consistently, the Nets could turn this season around. And for Kyrie, all he has to do is just play basketball. Like I said, I'm not going to get into what he did off the court, but if he stopped doing what he's doing off the court and just play basketball, the Nets will be okay. Because Kyrie isn't having a bad season by any means. It's just, his mouth gets him in trouble sometimes. I'm not saying what he said is right or wrong, but in this area of the media, he should really just keep his opinions to himself. But that's just how I look at it. Let's move on to the next disappointing team, which is the Chicago Bulls. This year, the Bulls hold a record of 6-10. That puts them 12th in the East. The Bulls definitely shouldn't be that low in the rankings. They definitely have a playoff team, but things just haven't been coming together for the Chicago Bulls. During crunch time, the Bulls coach Billy Donovan decided to bench Zach LaVine. That should tell you a lot how the Bulls season is going this year. And honestly, since the East is so good, I don't really think the Bulls could turn the season around. It would be very difficult for them, because in the East, you have to be a great team to be able to compete. And since the Bulls are so far down, I don't really think they have a chance to come back. But who knows? We're only 16 games in. Let's move on to the next team. That next team being the Miami Heat. This team literally just made the Eastern Conference Finals. And right now they hold a record of 7-10. This is one of my favorite teams out East. I love watching Jimmy Butler play basketball. But it's just during the regular season, Jimmy Butler does not care. As long as his team gets to the playoffs, he's okay. So that means he doesn't try 100% until his team is in the playoffs. But right now it's looking like he has to strive during the regular season, because a 7-10 record is not what the Heat's supposed to have. I feel like this Heat team is a top 6 team in the East. Jimmy and Bam is one of the best duos out in the East, and I definitely expect better from them. But I'm not going to sit too much on the Heat, because I think they'll be able to turn their season around. So now let's move on to the next disappointing team. That being the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Timberwolves made a blockbuster trade for Rudy Gobert. So now that pairs him up with D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Edwards, Karl-Anthony Towns. So you would think that team will have a pretty good record, right? Right now the Timberwolves are just at 500, with them having a record of 8-8, which puts them 10th in the West. I really thought this Timberwolves team was going to be a top 5 to top 7 team out West. But right now they're really proving me wrong. I thought Cat being able to play power forward would help the Timberwolves out a lot. But so far it really hasn't. Right now it's looking like the Timberwolves are just going to be another playing team again, in which they definitely shouldn't be, especially with the team they have now. The Timberwolves really have to pick it up. So in my opinion, it's really 50-50 with me. I don't really know if the Timberwolves could turn their season around or not. So we'll just have to wait and see. So now let's move on to the next disappointing team. The next and final disappointing team is the Los Angeles Lakers. This is a surprise to no one. We all knew the Lakers was going to be on this list. The Lakers have been absolutely horrible this year. Right now they hold the 14th seed out West. Now I didn't really expect much from the Lakers. But the 14th seed? I definitely didn't expect that. And honestly, I don't really think the Lakers will turn their season around. It'll be a miracle for them to even make the play-in. If they make the playoffs, they had God on their side. But with that being said, that's all I got for this video. Hey, if you made it this far in the video, you might as well like and sub. Or don't, that's a choice. I am out.